There's a simple technique that millions change their life with right across the globe. It is so simple that you might laugh at it when you hear what it is, but do not let the simplicity of this technique fool you, because all who come into contact with this technique, it has changed your life for the better. Let's look at how this works, from the end to the beginning and from the beginning to the end. We're going to do some reverse engineering to improve and get a better outcome in whatsoever situation we're in. The situation we're in right now, it's a product of some action that we take. The condition, the living condition that we're in. For example, you're content, you're satisfied, you're happy, you're filled with joy with whatsoever going on in your life. On the other hand, there is some who are stressed out, and there is health implication that comes with a stress out life for anyone who is living in that condition. And there's also, on the other hand, if you're content, if you're happy, that will boost your health situation right there. Right inside this box, this is a product of some action that was taken before. Let's look at this going backward. You have the product, the condition that's in that box, and for that product to come into existence, there gotta be a action that was taken. That action give you that. But before that action can be taken, there gotta be a decision. And before that decision, there is a thinking process that goes inside that to get to the action, to get to where the end product is. So let's look at it. On the top of all this, the number one thing on top of all this is the thought that comes in and kickstart the thinking process. And from the thinking process, that generate your idea, your decision, and your decision right there lead to the action that you gotta take, and the action that you take lead to the product, the result, which is your living condition that you're dealing with at this present moment. So this is the creative process from the beginning to the end. At the beginning, you have a thought. So if that thought is positive, if that's a good thought, then you think about it, you bring it into existence at the end. And the same thing that goes if the thought is negative. So you're going to get a negative product at the end, which is the outcome that the situation you're dealing with. Inside of all this, you can see the creation of what's taking place, how you're creating your existence on the outside, from the interior to the outside. Let's look at this formula overall. Thought plus the thinking process equal to the decision. And from the decision plus your action give you that result, give you that condition that you're living with right now. If everything is good from there, from the beginning, where everything begin, then you'll get a better product at the end. Let's look at the beginning of this, where the thought comes in and kickstart the thinking process, because this is the most important part of all of this. If you screw up here, then everything else will be what it be in your life. Right here where the thought comes into the mind and you start analyzing and you start thinking about it and you start the creation. Right here, you are the engineering in this space, creating what you gotta create. Right inside this space where the thought and the thinking process is, this is your creative workshop where you're bringing things into existence. Because whatsoever happen here, you're gonna make a decision about it and bring it to action that will influence your existence out there, and you gotta interact with that. If in the creative process in your workshop there is clarity here, then there's gonna be clarity you're producing on the outside. But if there's confusion, if there's negativity, if there's hatred, there's jealousy, then you're gonna get that product on the outside. Let's look at this technique where you can inject some clarity into the thinking process between when thought enter and the thinking process when it's happening. Here is a technique that millions of people use, as I said, right across the globe. And it changed your life completely for the better. This technique, as I say, is so simple. Here it is. 10 to 12 deep breath. When you take in these deep breath, find a quiet place and you take in these deep breath. Feel them. Relax the body. Listen to it as it comes in and it's going out. Love this breath. Remember, if you go for 10 seconds without taking these breath, not say half an hour without taking these breath, that's it. There is a life energy within these breath that you're taking. What's going to happen at the end of these 10 deep breath when you finish? Then you're going to have a empty mind. You're going to have a silent mind. There's not a lot of traffic running through your mind. And in this space, you can look at every thought that enter into the mind. What these 10 to 12 breath does is bring some clarity. It's like an injection right into your creative space where you're doing your engineering of the things that you're bringing into existence in your life. If the material that you're working with inside this space is of good quality, which is the thoughts, this is the material you're working with. If it's good quality material, if it's negative, if it's jealousy, if it's hatred, then that's what you're working with in your workshop to bring out into existence. What this 10 to 12 deep breath does, it's, as I say, inject some clarity inside your mind. And as you practice this simple technique, what's going to happen? Your awareness start to get bigger within you. It start to grow. And as this grow and you get more alert, you become more present within this space. And the minute any negative thought, any toxic thought, any hatred enter into this space, you will feel it and you will see it. And this is not the material you want to work with, because you, by this time you get to this place, you will know that the effect that it's going to bring into existence, it's not going to be benefit for you health-wise. You're not going to like the fruit that hatred and negativity going to produce on the outside. Injecting awareness within this space and growing that will allow you to see every single movement that's happening within you. Because this is your workshop. This is your engineering space. And from the beginning, if you can see all this that you're creating within you, then you can make adjustment here. And whatsoever the outcome, you don't have to worry about it. For in the beginning of all this, once you can clean up all the thoughts that coming in and make sure it's only the positive, the good thought that comes into production, then you don't have to worry, because whatsoever coming out, whatsoever you're producing in your workshop, it's of good quality, because in the beginning, the thought is of good quality. But if it's of bad quality, then that's the end result you're going to get. This is a process. All right, for example, look at how this play out. You have a thought. You want to be a engineer, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer. This thought comes in and you start thinking about it. And then the road start to get clearer and clearer how to go about it. And you make a decision. Yeah, you got to go apply here. You got to do that. You got to move here. You got to take some extra courses. You're making a decision right here. At the end of all this, when you all finish making your decision, then you are taking your action, and your action will give you the product. You become a lawyer, become an engineer, become a doctor. And that tree that you build, that shelter that you build for yourself, by doing this, that's the fruit you have at the end. It's the same road that's you're traveling on, but it's the quality of the thought that gets you the good product at the end. And it's the quality of the thought that gets you the same negative. So if it's good quality at the beginning, then you don't have to worry. And that's why you got to be conscious and aware within the mind. Because I don't think if you're conscious and aware in the mind, if you're alert, I don't think you're going to produce anything that's toxic. You're not going to produce any hate. You're not going to produce envy. You're not going to produce jealousy. Everything that you're producing when you're aware of what's happening in your creative space is going to be an asset in the hand that anyone, family, friend, whosoever surround you, You're not a liability to them. You're an asset in whatsoever environment that you're in. And the minute any thought that's negative comes into that space, whether it's coming from somebody else's mouth or it's creeping through thought within your own head, it's coming from within. The minute it enter the space around you, you can detect it and see exactly what it is. And you know by now how to deal with that because you're dealing with it within you already. And this is right here, my friend, my family. This is the creative process from the beginning to the end. And this 10 to 12 deep breath is a way to strengthen your awareness. This is a way you stand right in front of the gate where all these thought comes in, and you're checking and analyzing what they're about. And when you stand at the gate in awareness, alert, looking, then nothing can enter into this space, your creative space where you're engineering your existence. Nothing can come inside here and create any disruption and throw you under the bus. Because whatsoever you create in here, it's top of the top line in your life. You're creating the best with awareness in your mind. But if confusion is in this space, then that's what the end result is going to be. If confusion is here, or you don't know, or you're not aware of what's going through your mind, things just come in and you do the thinking process and you ship it out and decision make, action taken, then you're eating the bitter fruit at the end and you don't know what happened. How did I get to this space? This is step by step process of the creative process within every one of us. So don't take my word for it. Look within yourself as you go by second every single day. This is the creative process, and this is the things playing out within each and every one of us every single day, second by second, minute by minute, year after year. If you can recognize this process and understand this process and inject some clarity into the mind, this will change everything for you for the better. You will be more contented. You'll be more satisfied with what you're creating. You won't be stressed out from your own creation. Because from the beginning, you're creating with purpose. And once you start creating with purpose and you're making decision and you're putting things into action, then that shelter that you're building, that situation that you're building, you can go to that vineyard, you pick the fruit of what you bring into existence, and it bring nourishment to you. It bring nourishment to your family. It bring nourishment to your community. As I say, you become an asset. You're not a liability to your family. You're not a liability to your friends. You're an asset. Listen, comment below if you can see this working through you. Let me know. And subscribe so I can build a community with you. Peace and blessing always.